Hello, David and Fiona and Kay. Who else is there? There's 12 of you out there, but there's only a few of you chatting at the moment. Look, I've got Jeremy working away in the background. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello, good evening.
You ready for a glass of wine?
Bring it on.
Excellent. Hello, Emily. Emily's got her wine and oysters ready to go. Kevin's finishing up a call. He had better be quick. Absolutely. Well, Jill and Richard said, buy some oysters, and maybe if there are some left over tomorrow, we can have them when we get back. Pete's going to come and help us. Hello, Dan. How you going? Good to see you. All right. Before I open it, better show you what we're drinking. Moorooduc Estate Chardonnay 2023. Delicious. Oh my God, Shell. So Shell and Andrew, for those of you who haven't been here every week, Shell and Andrew have been doing keto for, it feels like about 10 months, but I don't think it's been quite that long. But they're back on the carbs this week, so could go crazy out there in Chatland. We do not need a decanter for this. Hello, Cotty and John. Pan-fried snapper and oven chips and salad. That sounds pretty good too. We're drinking out of Pinot glasses today. Feels like 10 years it does, doesn't it, David? We've been on the journey with you, Shell, even though we haven't been doing the keto. It's good to have you back in carbs land. All right, wine in glass. Now, we're doing it slightly differently because Jeremy's working very hard liberating oysters for me. So the least I can do is to pass him a glass of wine.
How about I swap it?
Oh, even better. Thank you.
Oh,
There you go, 2023 Chardonnay. Thank you. I've got some oysters. Before you go away, Jeremy, can you tell us what the oysters are?
I will, indeed. I'm actually going to grab two of them here. Fancy ones for this evening. Little Appalachian oysters, so tiny, smaller than a matchbox, from Merimbula.
Oh,
beautiful spot to be growing oysters locally. And I was saying to Kate before, I reckon that's worthy of a holiday just for the oysters. Some bigger ones from Tasmania. Again, these are actually not cleaned on the outside, so they're covered in stuff. They came straight out of the crate. They should be fresh as anything. So
awesome.
Enjoy.
Thank you, Jeremy. David has Appalachian oysters as well at the Inchley household. Hello, Angela. Welcome. I'm glad you can wave with emojis. Right, glass of wine for me. Pete might have to help himself to his glass of wine because I don't know where he's gone. He's probably looking at what's happened downstairs, which it's getting tantalizingly close. But we only had painters in today, so there's been a little bit of painting done down there, but we need more building. Okay. Oh, Emily's got Coffin Bay. Excellent. Kay's in Merimbula in November. Well, Kay, this is one of the reasons that and I will get onto the Chardonnay very soon, I promise. Oh, Karen, hello, Karen and Joan. Craig's still on his way home from work. Oh, no. Hopefully you can save him some wine. Hopefully he gets home quickly. Who else is there? Jeff and Sue. Hello, Jeff and Sue. Good to see you. Wine must be provided to the shaka. Absolutely, David. What was I saying? Oh, yes, Merimbula and November. So Jeremy and I have been talking about doing this oyster Chardonnay matching event on Drinks with Kate for about 6 months, I reckon. And it's because in winter, that's when the oysters are the most delicious. The colder the water, the better the oyster, essentially. So as the water warms up, oysters start spawning, they get creamy. Some people don't mind a creamy oyster. I personally find it a bit gross. So I avoid oysters from about November through to March, April. So, Kay, you may very well have some nice oysters in November, but they'll be just right on the edge. So get stuck into them. Have a taste of one first before you order 5 dozen, I would say. Oh, gosh, everyone's talking now. Fiona we got ours also from the Big Fish in Carrum Downs.
The Tassie ones, I forgot to say, Boomer Bay.
Boomer Bay.
Southeast coast of Tasmania.
Oh, cool.
Delicious.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have one in a minute. Sounds delicious. Jill and Richard are looking worried at the door. Are you okay, guys? It's been given to him. Sorry, Jill and Richard are worrying about the peacock. He's okay. He's been fed. You can go out and have a lovely night. Wave to people as you go out the door. Wave. Oh, hang on. Oh, God, where are you? There they are. There's Polly. There's Jill. Bye. Polly's being a good girl so far. Reggie eats veggies. I'm not really. First sip, this wine is worth the wait. Excellent, Shell. I'm so glad. Hello, Zach, Jack, Hannah, and Liz. Lovely to meet you, Liz. Karen Goodman, first reaction wine, smooth. Excellent. Smooth as. Excellent. Fiona went to Bruny Island for honeymoon in September. David ate his body weight in Bruny oysters, I bet. What else? David, the big fish in hang on. Oh, come on. I can't get down to Angela Nicholas is there. Yes. Angela, where do we get the oysters? Yep. Karen, the big fish has been a great discovery for. When did you discover it, Jeremy?
Oh, my parents about 5-6 years ago, but then it went away and they've come back with vengeance. It's usually about 10 people deep to the fish case.
Yep.
But amazing. That fish selection's better than anything.
And it's become a real tradition for Jeremy and his youngest, Iggy, who is now 5? 6. Sorry, Iggy. That's dreadful to make him a year younger than he is. Yeah. Iggy is a big foodie, and he and Jeremy have a lovely time going and picking a fish or a seafood of choice for dinner. And you had bugs last night, right?
We did. It's not good for the bank account, but it's fun for him.
Excellent. It's Kay's local fish and chip go-to. Kay's having chicken sangers and prawn cocktail. Couldn't make a decision. I thought they were all good options. They were all good options with this wine. Hello, Alison. Lovely to see you. Oh, David. David's saying they're friends of Fiona's. She grew up with the owner's kids. So do you get a special friends discount? Jeremy might be talking to you later. They have a good wine selection too because a friend of ours supplies the wine to them. So, it's a small world, right? 50%. Oof! Don't be publicising that, David, or they'll stop giving it to you. Yeah. Okay, right now everyone's very excited tonight, which is lovely. But I'm going to taste the wine because I've just had a sip of it and it looks delicious. I've got these oysters sitting here waiting for me, which also look delicious. Peter's just returned from wherever he's been. There's your glass. There's your wine, Peter. Help yourself. And this wine has been. We have been waiting for this for a while. How long ago did we sell out of the 2022? I think it was at least 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah. So we've been waiting for a while for a new Chardonnay. Wave, Pete, as you go into. Hey, Pete. They love Fiona. Of course they do. Of course they do. So we were waiting for this wine to get over its bottle shock and to settle down and be ready to drink. And I think that it was definitely worth the wait, as Shell said. It's just started to, it's really lively and lemony. It's got this really lovely kind of almost lemon sherbet kind of a zesty lift to it. But it's also got a beautiful saline-y, salty tang on the finish. It's got this gorgeous... just starting to get like a freshly baked white bread kind of aromatic on it. One of the guys we ran into at Moorooduc Cellador a few months ago, he's a fan, so you've got an in there, Jeremy, apparently, from the fish place. That's good to know. There's a real kind of lemon curd, lemon cream kind of a character. Almost a lemon drizzle cake kind of aromatic. There's a sort of there's a slight caramelized, cakey, brioche kind of aromatic there. Oh, my God. Why are we talking about Alan Rickman? I'm so confused. Karen, we've got Jones arancini balls. Beautiful. I bet they would be delicious. Brings forward the lemon flavours. David, you're going to have to explain yourself. I might have missed it. Bottle shock. Aha. Thank you. I still haven't seen that movie. I hear it's not Alan Rickman's best movie ever, but I would very much like to watch it because I was always in love with Alan Rickman. He'll always have a special place in my heart. So I think he was particularly good in Die Hard. So I like my men evil. as you probably already worked out. Yes, exactly, Die Hard. Who cares that the movie's no good? Well, that's all right, David. Some mandarin on the nose, Jeff and Sue. Yes, absolutely. It's got a real kind of citrusy character to it. Mandarin, a little bit of cancel Christmas, my favourite Rickman one. Oh, hello, little dog. I've got Tallulah wanting to jump. God, it's all going on here now. Tallulah's a bit worried about the oyster shucking going on back there. It's all a bit scary. Oh, Jeremy, you're so scary. Jeremy, come on, up you come. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, we need to talk about the wine. And oh, sorry, I just hit her in the head as she was jumping up. You can go on the camera. There we go. There's Tallulah. Right, all right, back to the wine. He has been in a few Christmas movies, that right? Die Hard and Love Actually, for sure. He's pretty good in Love Actually. You can't crawl over my shoulder, Tallulah. I can't cope with that while I'm on the screen and talking and stuff. You just watch them. They're not doing scary stuff. So the wine. He's also a preserved lemony kind of character, which I think is that little bit of saltiness coming out as well, which I think is really lovely. And it's just fresh and bright and delicious. And I think also just exciting to have some new Moorooduc Chardonnay in our glass again, finally. So here's cheers to that. Scott's got Coffin Bay. Hello, well done. Right. Oh yes. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That was a good movie as well. All right, I'm going to have an oyster. I'm not even going to bother with lemon with my first oyster because I do love lemon on oysters, but I think when I'm having it with a really lovely acid-forward wine, Polly is sort of interested in the oysters, but she's a bit sad because I gave her bad dinner tonight. So Mum's told me I'm not allowed to talk about Polly as much when I'm on screen because it's getting boring. So, she's not that interested in oysters. Oh, Tallulah, go and talk to Peter. Go on, you big sook. Go on, Tallulah. Come on. Oh my God, those Merimbula oysters are awesome. And Jeremy, I have a plan. I think that we should have for another Drinks with Kate trip next year in winter. We'll go and stay at the place that you stayed at, which was a Big Four caravan park, and the place across the road, which is a dog-friendly camping, glamping place. We can all meet there. Everyone can bring a bottle of champagne, and we'll go out and buy like 10 dozen oysters, and we'll just eat oysters and champagne for the weekend. That sounds terrible. It does sound pretty terrible, doesn't it? I'm thinking that, I think we're going to have a few trips next year. Dogs are the most interesting people. I agree, David. Hello, Sonia. How lovely to have you back. What's bottle shock? Good. Thank you for asking a sensible wine question, getting us back to the topic at hand. So bottle shock is a thing that happens to wine when you put it in the bottle. The fruit kind of closes down, and the acid, and if it's a red wine, the acid and tannin. If it's a white wine, the acid and phenolics in the wine come forward. And so you get a lot more texture in the wine and a lot less aromatic character, a lot less perfume, and it's out of balance. And it's basically, I relate it to similar to what happens to people when they go on an aeroplane and get jet lag. It's wine jet lag, but it's putting the wine into a bottle. It's just been sort of bashed around a bit in the process, and it just closes in on itself, and it doesn't taste good for a little while afterwards. And depending on the wine, thanks, Shell. Depending on the wine, it'll get over bottle shock sooner or later. The other type of bottle shock that we see is a wine type, is absolutely wine jet lag, because it happens when wine is shipped from one part of the world to another. And there's a theory that if it goes over the equator, then that's the worst thing for it. Another theory, I know, Jeremy's laughing.
None of this is science.
But I think that probably the going over the equator thing has got to do with how long the wine is traveling from one place to another, and the fact that it's going through different temperature zones. So the equator tends to be hot and humid most of the year, more or less humid depending on the season. And wine in a ship, if you spend a lot of money, then you can put it in a refrigerated container. Not a lot of people pay for refrigerated containers, which is a shame. And more people are paying for them now than they used to. But you can have problems with refrigerated containers. Distributors in New South Wales who import a little bit of wine were just emailed me a little while ago and said, how can you tell if a wine has been damaged by being frozen and then then defrosting? Because we had a refrigerated container that got a bit colder than it was supposed to, and we don't know whether the wine's okay or not. And we're trying to talk to the insurance people, and they want proof, and we don't know how to give it to them. I'm like, I don't know either. You can open some bottles and see how it tastes, but that's very difficult to prove anything categorically that way. So, what's going? Oh my God, everyone's gone a bit crazy. I think how many bottles of wine have you had to drink before you joined Drinks with Kate tonight, David? David said, when you don't have your glasses on and order Merceau at a restaurant, then you see the bill the next morning. Shocking, yummy, shocking. Is that that's bottle shock? Thank you very much. So that's another type of bottle shock. Thank you very much. But the bottle shock that we're talking about, we can minimise it by using the people who bottle our wine have really good machinery that allows them to keep. I'm glad I've got my little joke monsters in the background, because I'm like, what are we talking about? I'm so confused. But yes, they're getting me back on board. Alison, you get almost all of your wine from Peter. Yeah, well, Peter has a refrigerated car, so it's okay. It's all good. Excellent air conditioning, indeed. What else? What have I missed? Fiona's tabby was going mad when she was prepping the oysters. Excellent. Polly? Polly's a bit sulky tonight. Yes, so the wine, exactly, Shell. I'm getting back to the wine. Fiona, when we get orders from WA, we notice it as distinct from something posted from Yarra Valley. Absolutely. Why? What? What? David's just said 12. I don't understand what 12 means in relation to bottle shock. Or anyway, 12 oysters. Are we talking about? I don't know. 12 bottles. Correct. Fiona, I think this is a really good point, that wine, 12 oysters, 12 bottles, as wine from WA coming back to Victoria or wine from Victoria going to WA is the biggest problem, because getting a truck that's temperature controlled to get it all the way over there is very expensive, and transport from Victoria to WA or the other way around is also very expensive. So often wine will go in a truck that's maybe not adequately temperature controlled, and it gets a little bit warm. So David's saying they don't order after September from Margaret River, and I think that's absolute. I was just going to say, if you're ordering wine to be delivered to you, particularly from another state, particularly a state where it gets warm like WA, order it in winter and get it shipped in winter. And if you can't do that, then it's well worth just either ringing or emailing the people and saying, please don't send it until you know that the weather's going to be okay for wine to be moving around in for a couple of weeks. Because sometimes it gets, truck drivers have been known to pack their trucks and then go and park their trucks back at home to sleep the night and then drive. And if it's a hot day, then and a hot night, then the wine is going to be affected, and it won't be as delicious as it once was. Boiled lollies are okay. Boiled wine, absolutely not. So, Sonia, did I answer your question about bottle shock appropriately? The good thing about it, I think I didn't quite get to, is that it does go away after time, and it's why we don't release our wine as soon as it's been bottled. But you'll notice that one of our wines, at least the Pinot Gris on skins, we tend to release about a month after it's been bottled. We taste it quite rigorously after it's been bottled before we release it to make sure that we think it's looking delicious enough to be out there in the world. And the Chardonnay always takes longer than anything else to get over bottle shock. I don't know why. It's just a weird thing. Jeff, not that it relates to the wine, but does white wine ever benefit from decanting, maybe older wine? All white wine benefits from decanting, Jeff and Sue. I would say young wine more than old wine. I just thought this wine, I know because I had a bottle of it the other day, and it's ready and raring to jump out of the glass. But some white wine will be, when it's young, will be a bit restrained, and a bit of air will help bring it forward. Older white wine tends to need decanting less than older red wine, because old red wine we're decanting to take it off the sediment, whereas older white wine shouldn't have sediment in it, or shouldn't have much sediment in it. So decanting is more about getting air into it quicker, and when it's old you don't necessarily want to get too much air into it too quickly, because it'll oxidize and you'll lose the joy of it quicker. David saying that you appreciate how long we hang on. It's looking after customers rather than dollars. Absolutely. Well, also at the moment when we're a bit short on Chardonnay, generally we know it's going to sell out. We might as well wait. We might as well wait for a bit longer to release it, because we know it's going to come and go faster than we want it to. And I've got oysters coming. Yay, thanks, Jeremy. I should probably eat some. Thank you. Yeah, we know it's going to come and go, so we might as well. And most people will buy the wine to drink within 24 hours of buying it, so it needs to be ready to go. Okay, Fiona. It does have a salty butter character to it, absolutely, which is weird because I'm reading a really weird and excellent book at the moment that I bought when I was up in Byron Bay, and it's called Butter, and it's a Japanese book that's been translated into English, and it's all about food and the way butter makes food taste better, but it's also a murder mystery, and it's very exciting. So if you're looking for a good read and you're looking for a good book, you should look out for Butter. I can't remember who wrote it, but it's in translation. It's very easy. The book itself is bright yellow with a cow on the side of it. It's a very cool read, but it's making me a bit obsessed with butter flavors, which is rather awesome. We've just finished as we're coming to Moorooduc. Sue says, Sue and Jeff are on their way over for more oysters. They've just finished theirs. I don't think we've got any to spare, Jeff and Sue. Shell, I'll pop it up on. I'll send you the author, and I'll send you a picture of it. I'll pop it up on my personal Instagram rather than the Moorooduc one. So that's Kate and PX for anyone who needs another person to follow on Instagram. Asako Yuzuki. Thank you, Kay. Kay, the woman who has access to all knowledge. Thank you very much. This wine, the lemoniness is kind of setting down. It's all about obsession, David, and it just makes me. I've been reading it, and I'm like, oh, I need some rice with some soy sauce and a big pat of butter melting on it, because it just sounds so delicious. They don't talk about wine yet, although she did talk about wine once. But I think that she could also be a bit of a wine connoisseur if she got into it. So the lemon is still coming forward, but the sherbety kind of confectionery character's gone away a little bit, and it's becoming much more grown-up, kind of savoury, salty lemon. I'm wanting to have another oyster with this lemony wine, so I'm just going to have to do that. Excuse me for a moment. Talk amongst yourselves. Yum. Where did you say the bigger ones were from, Jeremy? Tasmania.
Boomers Bay, Tasmania southeast coast.
Boomers Bay, Tasmania's southeast coast. They're pretty delicious too. Very creamy and very salty at the same time. So rather delicious.
What makes it good? Sorry, this is for personal reasons. What makes a good wine to go with oysters, apart from acid? What makes a good wine to go with oysters? Jeremy wants to know. That's a great question. Hello, Craig. Welcome. I'm glad you made it home in time. Lemon curd, lemon, salty lemon, all sorts of delicious stuff. And Sue's saying that she loves the Chardonnay and she doesn't normally drink it. David, are you drinking a little too... What? Hello, David. Are you drinking
a little too much midweek. No, David's just having a conversation with himself now, so that's excellent. So, okay, I'm going to answer Jeremy's question because he's talking more sense than the rest of you lots. What makes a good wine to match with oysters? Well, I always think, what do we like to put on oysters to enhance the flavour of an oyster? And for me, it's lemon juice. So David's talking amongst himself. Thank you very much, David. You are the comedian who always comes through with the joke. Thank you very much. So I like freshly squeezed lemon on my oyster. So I'm always looking for a wine that has a lemony character to it. High acid, but also a lemony flavour. So a young, fresh Chardonnay is fantastic. Shell, I'll come to you in a moment, Shell, because you're just a troublemaker. A young, fresh Chardonnay, a Chardonnay-based young champagne is fantastic. I think champagne that is aged or champagne with a lot of Pinot Noir in it is less good with oysters than a Chardonnay-based champagne. Other things that work really well with oysters are lemony flavoured wines. So think about Chenin Blanc from the Loire. A dry Chenin Blanc from the Loire would be delicious with oysters, but you wouldn't want one with residual sugar. Pete's just gone to get the Tabasco sauce, all of the hot sauces that he's got, because Shell has mentioned Tabasco sauce is something that she likes to put on an oyster. I think that's absolutely right. So what works with spicy sauce, hot sauce? A lovely lemony, high acid, tangy, thank you, Jeremy, tangy white wine. So we're on the same path. Riesling is fantastic with oysters, again, because it tastes like lemon and lime, particularly a young Aussie Riesling. Tastes like lemon and lime juice. It's got high acidity. It just really brings everything forward. Craig's right. Oaky Chardonnay doesn't work. The woody flavour mucks up the flavour of the oyster. If you're putting Tabasco on your oyster, then woody Chardonnay, the wood and the tannin in the wood's going to fight with the spice. So avoid overly oaked wines. A Sancerre or a tangy early picked style of Sauvignon Blanc can work really well with oysters as well. And a Melon de Bourgogne from Muscadet, right on the coast of the Loire River or the Loire Valley, also fantastic with oysters. Now, what Sonia wants to know, who grows their own finger limes? Finger limes would be fabulous on just sprinkled on your oysters. You're right, Sonia. And finger lime and young Australian Riesling have a very similar aroma and flavour profile. I don't have a finger lime yet, but I'm planning to plant one in the near future. I've just got to find a space and make sure that I haven't killed all of my other citruses first. David, I've got the Tabasco, too many D'Estasio dinners. I can't keep up with David's brain today. It's like it's pinging all over the place, David. It's very good. Yuzu, absolutely, Fiona. Yuzu is delicious on an oyster. And again, yuzu has that unique lemony, kumquatty, mandarin-y kind of character. And that is a character that I see particularly from a Blanc de Blanc champagne. Do they freeze? Finger limes, Sonia. Finger limes, I think, can freeze, but I don't know if you need to take them out of their skins or not. I'm not sure. I reckon Cotty might be able to tell you, or Alison. Alison says that she hears that they do freeze. David is talking about D'Estasio, oysters, lemon, and Tabasco. Another thing that they often serve with oysters is what do they call it? It's shallots and either sherry vinegar or raspberry vinegar. A mignonette sauce, they call that. And they'll often serve oysters with that. And again, the sulfur, the The shallots give you a slightly bitterness from the sulfur and a sweetness from the onion, because onions and shallots have lots of sugar in them, which is why they caramelize so well when you cook them slowly. But also that good quality vinegar will bring out would be rather delicious. Sonia's thinking the pearls in the citrus might explode. I'm not sure, Sonia, but I've never seen. Jeremy, do you know about finger limes and freezing them?
No.
No.
I'd give it a go though.
Give it a go.
Yeah, but I need a treat as well.
Yeah.
Bush. I think they're a fabulous flavour.
They are. They're good fun. Oh my God, that Merimbula oyster is super, super sweet.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I can't decide which. I know that Jeremy and Jill. Oh, what have you given me here? Oh, they've got an oyster with mussels on it. Look at this. Jeremy's brought me a little show and tell. That's an oyster, and to show you how fresh it is and how much it hasn't been cleaned, it's got little baby mussels on it. We could cook them up and have them with frites.
It's like half a dinner on site.
Half a dinner, I know, exactly. There's some little mussels there. How cute. That's super duper. Yeah, Jeff and Sue are saying, happy there's no blood in the background shot with Jeremy. He's doing very well so far, but don't jinx him, please. All those fingers are still there. We were just remembering, and he won't be on the call because he's too busy running his own wine business these days, but we were just remembering during the Fiona shucked one that was empty. That's outrageous. How rude. We were just remembering during lockdown for my birthday, it left home early, absolutely, David. For my birthday it was either 2020 or 2021. It was sort of in between lockdowns. We were all at work. Actually, I probably shouldn't be talking about this on the. It's all totally legal. We were at work, and we got together to have oysters for my birthday, and Jeremy was shucking them, and Jeff Plan, who a lot of you will remember, decided that was the day for him to learn to shuck oysters. And I think it was almost the best day of his life. He was so happy. He learned to shuck oysters, and he's like, don't anyone else shuck them. I'm going to shuck them all. And we went through, I think Jeremy bought like a bag of it. It was a really good, it was one of those great COVID lockdown innovations that these guys who sold oysters to restaurants were selling them by the bag, and you'd order them and they deliver them. Yeah. So Jeremy bought a bag of oysters and brought them. We just made ourselves sick on oysters and champagne for my birthday, which was, for a lockdown birthday, it was pretty jolly good. Teenagers these days, David, you're hilarious. Fiona had to learn to shuck oysters because David really notices the difference between shucked 10 minutes ago and 6 hours ago. I'm absolutely the same, Fiona, and I can say it now because Jill's not here, but we've had it's not arguments, but she'll buy oysters shucked from the fish shop, and she'll be like, would you like an oyster? I'm like, no, thank you. And she's like, but you love oysters. I said, yeah, but I only love oysters that are freshly shucked, like just before I eat them, because I want them to have been closed and with all their own juices in them until just a few moments before I put them in my mouth. So I'm a little bit of a fuss budget as well about oysters, but I think it's worth it. And now that I need to learn how to shuck oysters, because probably one day Jeremy will say, I'm sorry, I have to look after my family rather than come and shuck oysters for you. And then I'm going to be in deep trouble. Anyway, luckily tonight we got Jeremy with the bribery of oysters. Okay, what are people saying? Life skill, absolutely, Alison. Keely's just got home from work. Oh, Keely, they saved you some wine. Good work. Cheers. Yes. Oh, thanks, Shell. Oh, you are such a sweet person. I'll have to read that out for Jeremy and Peter. Shell said that the lockdowns did create experiences of a lifetime. Drinks with Kate.
Very true.
Yeah. And some of us don't know when to stop. Fiona nailed it after 2 dozen. Good work. Fiona got great ocean ducks delivered in lockdown, but not oysters. Oh, well, hopefully we won't have another lockdown because we don't need that. But it was a good thing to tuck into. I also heard on the radio the other day, for anyone who likes lobsters, that it looks like the Australian lobster trade to China is going to start up again soon. And the lobster fishermen were saying that maybe lobsters will still be reasonably, I was going to say inexpensive, but I think they're still quite expensive before Christmas, but as soon as they start trading with China, then lobsters are going to get super expensive again. So there's a little hint. Get stuck into lobsters while you can. But I'm having another oyster. I got a bit of the seabed in that one. You don't serve our lobster. I know, David. That's the problem with international trade, isn't it? But also, I mean, I guess it's not true. I think loyalty to local customers is very important, and that's why we sell most of our wine locally. There you go. Cheers. Cheers to that, you lobster farmers. The wine, as it sits in the glass, is getting tighter and finer and more lemony. I'm going to pour myself a little bit more. Oh, gosh, it's a leaky bottle. Peter and Jeremy, do you need a little bit more?
No, I'm good.
Because I always find it's really interesting when you sit with wine in the glass for a while, that last little bit changes completely and you do another pour and it's different from the first pour, but it takes you back about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes previously from when you were drinking the last glass. It takes you back again and then it does all of its things again, which is really pretty cool. David, they can have Penfolds, sure. Kevin, hello. How would the vinaigrette dressing on oysters change the wine selection? There's a little bit of white blossom coming through, Fiona, absolutely. So, Kevin, I find often vinaigrette can be overwhelming if you have too much with the wine. So a lot of people will also drink oysters with stout or with a nice red ale or something like that. That's a very English thing to do. And I think if you're doing that, I think a vinaigrette's better with an oyster if you're drinking beer with it than it is if you're drinking wine. That's me being a little bit fussy though. And it depends how acid tolerant you are. But if you're putting vinaigrette on your oyster and eating it, then you're adding an acidic character to the food match for the wine, which makes it a little bit harder work for the wine. David, clowning around. You're not clowning around too much at all, David. But the Estate Chardonnay is delicious, and I think I'm really enjoying it tonight. The acid and lemon comes back with each new pour. It mellows in the glass. Absolutely. So, Kevin, I don't know if you and Emily have got some vinaigrette dressing with your oysters tonight, or even just a little bit of lemon. Jeremy's given me some lemon, and I've deigned not to use it with my wine because I think lemony acid will bring out the lemoniness, but also will make the wine a bit harder. That's what acid does to wine. It'll make the wine seem a bit harder and a little bit tartar as a result. So I think that's going to be the issue with putting dressings, vinaigrettes, even lemon juice on the oysters. When I'm drinking young Blanc de Blanc Chardonnay from Champagne, no, Craig, I'm going to do that in a minute. Thank you for reminding me. David wants you to shuck and play a tune on the guitar, Jeremy. Emily ate all the oysters with lemon because he was late. So, oh dear, that's no good, Kevin. But that'll teach you to be late. Don't do work on a Thursday after 6 o'clock. Is the lesson there. Reggie smashed the reggae, absolutely, David. I haven't seen Reggie's probably sulking over in the winery at the moment because it's too wet for him to get back to the courtyard for him to. Oh no, he came back. He's back in the courtyard, but he's probably not jumped up on the wall yet because it's a bit wet and miserable here. Good day to sit inside and shuck oysters and drink Chardonnay. So Craig wants to know the vineyard profile for this wine. And Alison has had cheers to the blenders. Absolutely, thank you. So 2023 Estate Chardonnay.
I can tell you all about it.
Jeremy can tell you all about it. Do you want to come forth and can you guys hear him from back there?
Oh,
come forward. Bring your glass of wine, and I'll eat an oyster while you're talking.
Vineyard profile for this wine consists mainly of 2 vineyards. One we're sitting at right now. The new Chardonnay out there makes up the majority of the wine. Osborne Vineyard is the second big influence in the wine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of Garden Vineyard with the new clone that we've got online. That in 23 was one of the first, well, it was the first time it started popping its hand up as a contender, looking really, really schmick. And that's it. There's
that's
those
it.
3.
Yeah. Okay. Because a while back, in previous times, there used to be a bit of Robinson Chardonnay that sometimes went into the estate, but we've had so little Robinson for the last few years. It's been pretty rare and special, so hasn't made it to the estate, which is one of the reasons that we've had less estate.
Yep, 100%. The other thing is, pulling back on oak again, this is as little as 10%.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think that makes the wine so much better to be able to visibly see the things you've been talking about rather than a Cooper and the influence of wood in this. And I think it goes so well with oysters.
So good with oysters. Thank you, Jeremy. I just had to practice what I preach. I put some lemon on my last oyster, which made me a bit sad because it made the oyster taste nice, but it made the wine taste less nice. So that's my little kind of, I don't know, it's sort of tip or personal preference is if you're eating really lovely fresh oysters with a good tangy lemony wine, then you don't need anything on them at all. And anyone who maybe isn't the hugest fan of raw oysters, or if you've got oysters that were shucked maybe, this morning and you bought them from the fish shop and you don't have someone to shuck them for you freshly, then the recipe that I sent out for the Gabrielle Gatte recipe is the original recipe that Jill kind of fiddled with to make her champagne oysters that she serves sometimes at Moorooduc lunches. And it's a really lovely way to introduce oysters to people who maybe are a bit freaked out about them being raw and a bit, textural, which worries some people. If you just warm them through that creamy champagne-y or winey sauce that's got a little bit of shallot in it and some salt and pepper, it just kind of firms the oyster up a bit. You don't cook it for a long time. You just basically put it in and let it warm up and then take it out again. And it makes a very delicious oyster for beginners, and the creaminess and the wine in the sauce makes it a really good match again to the wine. So it works super, super good. Sonia wants to know who's going to the wine movie in the British Film Festival. What's it called, Sonia? I haven't caught up with that yet. I know there's a wine movie from China called The Hidden Grape or something like that, which I've heard a little bit about, but I don't know. Where's the Osborne Vineyard? Emily wants to know, and it's very close to your place, Emily. It's at the other end of Derrill Road, just down. What's the name of the little laneway?
Foxy's Road.
Foxy's Road, yeah. So it's just down Foxy's Road. It's so it's sort of at the back of your place, Emily. Basically
500 meters.
500 meters from your place. It's right next door to Dexter. Thank you, Jeremy. My brain stopped working. Yes, David, I think that the flavour of the grapes that we've spent all this energy growing is much more important than the flavour of oak. And it's a conversation that we've been having in the winery over the years, and just reducing the new oak and also using second use oak as preference to new oak. You've got to use it once before you can use it for the second time. So something's got to go in it, but giving it a little bit of seasoning with some less important wine is quite good for making beautiful Chardonnay the second year round. Widow Clicquot, I haven't caught up with that yet. I will check it out. I love the story of Clicquot. She's pretty cool. We should definitely check it out. Shell's about to start Italian lessons. Oh, does that up for 2026? Yes, absolutely, Shell. Oh God, I'm losing the track of the conversation again. Jeremy, apparently you've got to keep shucking, Nareem said. I think he's done them all. Oh, Pete's taken over. I haven't seen. I've got this one that's got the mussels on it still. If you need another one, open. Yeah. There's only 3 left to shuck plus this one, so we've done quite well. I don't think Jill and Richard are going to have any.
No, they're not getting any.
They're not getting any of the 3 dozen. There's 3 people here, 3 dozen oysters. That seems like a pretty simple sum to do. Hey. Do I want more?
Yeah.
I'll have another one. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Normal amount. Absolutely, David. I don't know what they were thinking that there'd be left over from 3 dozen. But yeah, it's been super fun. And I feel like I'm kind of drifting into an oyster and Chardonnay enhanced days from the end of Thursday. We're going to get on to main course soon. Whiting and prawns sounds fabulous, Fiona. I hope you've got enough wine left to go with it, or perhaps a bottle of something else. What's so the big... Sorry, Craig. What's so the big burr? What's Craig saying? Have you had a stroke, Craig? You okay? There's always more wine. Absolutely. I'm getting text messages from England. No, say it again, Craig. Say it again properly. I don't want to forget it. You can see the peacock in the background. He's thinking he's doing a run up to his wall. He's going to fly up there in a minute. You'll see it if we keep talking. Otherwise, feel free to run away. Big Brewer, are you cold, Craig? Possibly. No, we've got, so it's not cold here. It's nice. It's quite humid because it's raining at the moment, but it's still about 20 degrees. So it's nice here. I don't think that's what Craig was saying. I'm sure he was saying something important. Yes, by Dexter Emily. I'm just making sure that I have answered all of everyone's questions. Craig, text it to me. Maybe you're being hacked by the sensors again. Emily, I do love oysters. Sorry, Kevin. Think the best oysters I've ever had are the bluff oysters in New Zealand. I have not had the bluff oysters in New Zealand, but I've heard that they're fabulous. I think Australian oysters are pretty bloody good. Yeah, exactly, Shell. Still 23 in Melbourne. Yeah, it's warm. Kay's watching Drops of God on Apple TV. Really interesting film about wine collection. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great show. The premise of it is ridiculous. Nobody has magical wine tasting ability, and torturing your child to be a better wine taster as an adult doesn't work much. Well, I guess Dad made me taste wine when I was younger, and look at me. Sydney Rocket Benelong, fantastic. I was going to say some of the most amazing oysters that I've had, and it was really unexpected, were in Japan, up in Hokkaido, in the middle of winter. And they were, thank you, Peter. Unreal. Thanks. You're amazing. They were, I don't know what sort of oysters they were because we were in Japan and I don't speak Japanese, but we were in this beautiful seafood restaurant in Hokkaido after a big day of skiing, and we sat down and I was there with a couple of couples, me and my sister, and Beck doesn't eat oysters. The 2 wives didn't eat oysters. The 2 boys were big oyster fans, and we're like, oh, let's order some oysters, woo! And we've got, let's order, how many do we want? 3 dozen. And we went, let's just get 2 dozen. And the server looked a little bit shocked when we ordered 2 dozen oysters. And they arrived and they were they were like the size of you almost needed like a steak knife to kind of cut them up to eat them. And they're just enormous. I could just about get one in my mouth and chew it up and eat it. But They were delicious. So we did manage to eat them all. I did feel slightly overwhelmed by the amount of oyster that I'd inhaled that night. And I think that the non-oyster eaters at the table were pretty disgusted. I prefer smaller oysters as well, Alison, but these ones were absolutely delicious because big oysters often are a bit tough and a bit flavourless. These had huge flavour. They were raw, David. They were freshly sharked, and they were but they were outrageously big, and they were a little bit frightening when they came to the table. We're like, oh my god! So, but they were good. Another oyster story that I'll tell you, and we've got to 50 minutes, so I should probably let you all go to dinner soon. But my sister married a Frenchman from, get it right, Kate, Normandy, Pete, or Brittany? Brittany, thank you. I was going to say Brittany and I went Normandy. From Brittany, and his parents came out for the wedding, and we took them to the Rocks in Mornington, and some of you will know the Rocks in Mornington. And we're like, oh yeah, you know, it's a lovely seafood restaurant. It's a pretty ordinary seafood restaurant, but we ordered some oysters. And Gwendol's, it's a nice seafood restaurant, but it's not like super posh. It's not super fabbo. But we ordered oysters, and Gwendol's mother, who didn't speak any English, kind of said, the best oysters in the world come from Brittany. And she ate them and sort of sneered a bit and was like, okay, well, I've got to come and visit you in Brittany and eat some oysters there. Okay, what are the Robbo and Duck versions of this vintage looking like? Craig, it's a bit too early to say. We'll come back and look at them later in the year, but they're a bit tight. They're a bit bottle shocked at the moment, but we think they're pretty exciting. Oysters with Japanese growth hormones, possibly in a room. No, they grew in the up in the Siberian. What's it called? That bit of water between Siberia and Japan, basically. So super cold. Really good for Hokkaido oysters. Fantastic. Cotty, bye-bye. Thank you so much. See you soon. Ezaz used to do the best mock oyster sushi. They did, with a bit of sake in them as well. We are going to finish now. Peter's talking about Fukushima in the background. Normandy versus Brittany is like Melbourne versus Sydney. I know, David. I know, and I've just done the biggest faux pas. So I'll have to go and visit and get myself sorted out. In the meantime, we have Magic Stork Shiraz next week. So that's about as different from this as we could possibly be, which will be awesome. Have I answered everyone's questions? Craig, yes. We look forward to drinking the Robbo and Duck versions of this later next year with you guys, because we think they're going to be pretty super duper. But in the meantime, take care, enjoy. Harry Potter next week, absolutely, David. Bit of magic, and do you know what? I'm really excited because I haven't tasted that wine for a little while. I think it'll be ace. Oh, Craig, and is it just you, Craig, or is everyone going to the US? Have fun anyway. If you're away for 3 weeks, I'm then away for another couple of weeks in Argentina in early November. So we're going to have a little break between box 5 and a slightly smaller box 6 to get us to the end of the year. But we'll do it. I'll send you all the information via email. Thank you, everyone. This has been a long session, so I'll let you all go. Cheers. Who is what oyster, David? Not all. What? Oh my God. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Cheers. Yes, Craig, you can do it for breakfast. Very nice. Thank you.